really nice to be here today, and the lovely ladies, thank you for asking me to come along. Yeah, it was lovely singing with you all, and and the loaf was lovely and the coffee, so yeah. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, and can everybody see the computer?
Yes.
Cool, because otherwise you just move up if you want. Sorry, I can't do it on the big screen. Never mind.
Turn that on.
I'm just going to start off with some Bible quotes that you're probably familiar with, and I'm going to try and talk slowly because I have a tendency to talk fast. So if I'm not loud enough or if I'm too fast, just put your hand up. So the first quote is, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." Why is Satan able to tempt us? Because we look away from God's word. And we start to go on our own way, and that's how that happens. "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Ephesians 6:12. Someone once said the smartest thing the devil ever did was tell everybody that he doesn't exist. "For the devil goes about like a roaring lion, seeking out who he can devour." Do not turn to mediums or spiritualists. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. "I am the Lord your God." Leviticus 19:31. What are mediums and spiritualists? I think from my understanding, they are people that channel demons. "Those who plough iniquity and sow trouble reap the same." Job 4:8. I ploughed iniquity and I channeled spirits of demons that I didn't know. And now I have heaped trouble, I believe, onto myself. This is a little bit about me. On the bigger one, with the short hair, growing up in Cyprus with my brother Michael. Yeah. And I was born in England in 1964. And I moved to Cyprus with my mum and dad. And I grew up in the church when we moved over to New Zealand in 1973. And I grew up playing the piano in church. I loved music from a young age. Yeah. This is me at Teachers College. Graduating with my degree.
Can't see it, honey.
Can't see it? Do you want me to pull it down?
Yeah, that's it. Oh,
sorry. That's when you need to put your hand up.
Might need to come forward just a little bit further.
Because I'm a little bit more down.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's right.
That's better.
Much better?
Yes.
Cool one. Okay. I'm standing so I can see it. Okay, and this is a band that I've been in. I've been in lots of bands. This was one about 2011 or 2012. It's actually the band I'm in now, the Shirley, but it's a reshuffle. And this is the first CD I put out, and I've just put a new one out. And I'm working on a Christian CD at the moment too. About this time last year, I found out, I started getting pain actually up here. It was on my right side. I didn't really know what it was, and I went to the doctor because it got worse, and they started running a battery of tests, and that's me lying down. You can see me in the outpatients in the hospital. I will warn you too, some of what I've look away if you don't like blood, because I've got a bit. And I started having some blood tests done and things like that, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me at first, except for they found a little bit of fluid on my back, on my lung. It's me getting a CT scan done on my lungs. They didn't find any mass on the lung, just fluid. But I went in a couple of weeks later, and I was supposed to be just giving a sample for testing for whatever they test for. But by the time I got there, I could hardly breathe, and I could hardly walk. My lung, it was in my pleura on my back, and it was filled up. They drained 4.5 litres of fluid off my right lung. And this here you can see is where they put the tube in. They put a little tap on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's just draining, so the blood going down to the thing on the bottom, draining the pleura. And that, I was in hospital for 8 days while I was waiting to find out what was wrong and having all that done. And yeah, I came out and I just kind of was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. But so yeah, that was 8 days in hospital, and that was, I just took a picture of the actual, whatever you call it, tube that drains it. I started chemo, I got had ovarian cancer, I found out, and it was terminal stage 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was sitting in the surgery, in the specialist room, and I found out. Well, when I found out what it was, I was actually in the oncologist room 2 weeks later. And they said to start chemotherapy 2 days later. So I started chemotherapy, and he wasn't even talking about a cure. There's no cure. You got hardly any time, basically. Yeah, out of the blue. I'd just been at I've been at the gym like a month before. It's like, so anyway, so I ended up starting chemotherapy, and unfortunately with the chemotherapy I got a thing called C. diff. I don't know if any of you know what that is, but it's quite a nasty bowel disease, or not disease, infection. So I ended up in hospital on drip, whatever they do with that, antibiotic drip. And I also had another 1.5 litres on the other lung drained at that point, and also got some kidney damage too. Yeah, which the kidney damage thankfully came right. And I felt like in that hospital, like with all that bowel stuff going on, and I could hardly walk, and I nearly fainted at one stage trying to get to the toilet, and I was just in agony, and I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't lie on my side, and I couldn't lie on my back, and it was just awful. And it was just awful. I just felt like at that moment, like I just had no pride at all. I just felt totally just absolutely wiped. Like, it's hard to explain, but can't think of the words to describe it really. Humbled, I guess. More than humbled. Then I had, on top of that, while I was in hospital, a reaction to the chemotherapy that I had just had. And can you see my lips starting to swell up?
Yes.
And by the next day, it was my whole face. Yeah, I should laugh. It's funny looking back now, but it wasn't at the time. I was actually really upset because I thought, oh no, on top of everything else, now I look awful as well.
You look like a different woman.
And that was before the hair fell. Speaking of which, I think that's fun over. So yeah, I returned to chemotherapy, and I had a lovely friend that used to come with me, Sarah. She's not here today. She came to me, I think, for every single chemotherapy session, which was awesome.
And I took that photo of you sitting in the
you probably did
chemotherapy.
too, yes.
Both of these photos I took actually.
Yeah. I had, I don't know if you know what an anaphylaxis reaction is. Yeah, I had one of those, which was really, really bad too. The second lot of chemo I had. It was like I was just sitting there in the chair, and I just felt this, it was awful, this feeling of pain. I can't even describe it, it was so intense. Coming up my body from just really fast up my body, and I knew I was in trouble, and I yelled out to the woman, the nurse, help. She came over, and I was vomiting and carrying on, and then they rolled me over onto a bed. You can't see it because I pulled another picture over to show you that, but I at that stage had lost my hair, so I looked over and my wig was lying beside me. I remember that's the last thing basically I remember, except for them saying to me, don't close your eyes, but it got too much, and that's all I remember. But my friend was there with me that day, and she said they had 12 emergency staff around me, and it took them half an hour to get me stabilised. I was unconscious, obviously, and I had 5 lines on. 2 of them were adrenaline, and I don't know what the others were. They were ready with a defibrillator, and which is the thing they start your heart with. They ripped my shirt, and they couldn't find my blood pressure, or by feeling, or my heartbeat, or something else. There was 3 things that they couldn't find. But when they turned the machine on, it was there, so it was all right. They didn't actually have to do that. So that was all right. I survived that, which was actually quite amazing. Yeah. Well, actually, the oncologist said the doctor actually said to the nurse said to my friend, ring the family. Yeah. And the oncologist said, you are very lucky to be here alive. And when they ambulanced me around just from the cancer ward to the hospital, I had 4 doctors apparently just didn't take their eyes off me in the ambulance.
Wow.
That was pretty. Yeah.
Amazing.
So you can believe about my hair. Everyone used to tell me I had a beautiful head. I hate that. But it was nice of them. And in actual fact, a friend of mine was so good. There's the same friend I was talking about before. Because she's got false teeth, I don't think she'd mind me saying, and because I lost all my hair, and so we went to get a wig and stuff. There's me trying on the wigs, and she said, "Oh, Shirley, you shouldn't think of it as a wig. You should think of it as your hair," because she said I've got false teeth, and I don't go around telling everybody they're not my teeth. And I thought that's cool, and a bonus. My hair will actually grow back, and it has. So that was so nice for her to say that. That's so what I wanted to hear, because I sat there when my hair was falling out, and I was actually just bawling my eyes out. It was just coming out in massive clumps, and I was just putting it all into the plastic bag, and it's horrible. But I used to like fooling people with the different wigs. They also said that I probably wouldn't make surgery. My scar's not like that now, it's faded, but that was when I sort of first had it. It's a bit of a dramatic scar. But it goes from like here right up to here. They said it'd be unlikely I'd make surgery, but I did. And the chemo, because there was 2 lots of different chemo they worked, I wasn't allergic to one of them. So that one actually pushed it back. Plus I had heaps of prayers. And I made it up to Auckland Women's Hospital, and luckily, amazingly actually, my major organs the cancer hadn't got there. They were just like on the parts of the omentum, which is quite common with ovarian cancer. And of course they had a full hysterectomy and parts of that out. So they got all of the cancer they could see, which with ovarian means that apparently, medically speaking, it will come back, I was told. And I probably won't last very long. That's what I was told.
Wow.
Yeah. So even with the operation, it'll come back. Yeah, even though they got it all. I'm now considered to be in remission.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. So we'll do that one in a minute. I'll just read.
What year was that?
So I should have said that, shouldn't I? Yeah, it was 2000. What are we now? It must have been 2017. I think I did say about this time last year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so a year ago. Yeah. I think actually I was diagnosed in November, so nearly a year ago.
Wow,
It's been a hard year.
Still journey.
Yeah, it's been a big journey. Yeah. Am I talking loud enough and not too fast?
Yes,
Cool.
Can you see without the light on?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. I've got my glasses. I'm going to have to read off my notes, sorry. I feel the need to share my experience of how the occult has impacted on my music. Can you hear that? Life and health, resulting in a terminal ovarian cancer diagnosis. I would also like to share with you how God has rescued me. I now believe that one of my musical albums, called The Lucy Star Project, was not my work, but that of Satan. I know some people avoid speaking about the occult, but I feel to bring out into the open what happened to me. And I might just add here too, when I was in hospital, I gave my heart to God. I probably should have said that. And I had been meddling in all sorts of things before that I didn't. I should have known better, but I didn't. And I really wanted to live at that moment, to spend every moment that I could for God and not for myself anymore. Yeah, and that's kind of basically why I'm here. I have experienced Satan in work in my life. Sorry. I am paying the price. I'm here to tell you the devil is real. Despite my upbringing in the church, I developed an interest in the occult and regrettably chose to use a supernatural process called automatic writing or channeling, which I think was probably the best way for me to describe it would be automatic writing via channeling, to write and create the Lucy Star music album that I wrote. I believed at the time I had a good spirit guide with me, which I channeled for lyrical inspiration. Now, however, I believe Satan was behind my automatic songwriting process. Usually when I write a song, the lyrics are a slow process and from the heart, whereas in automatic writing, the words come instantly from somewhere else. It was the worst decision of my life. Out of this process came a 22-song musical written in 6 weeks, most of which was later recorded and filmed. Through automatic writing, I received the message that this album was about a woman called Lucy Starr who fell to earth, sold her soul for a recording deal, ruled the world for a short time, but eventually fell. I now know that this character resembles that of Lucifer.
Wow.
I would like to show you how the lyrics played out alarmingly in my life whilst the songs were being created. A wise person once said to me, "How many coincidences can there be until a coincidence is no longer a coincidence?"
Good one.
Yeah. The lyrics I am about to share with you, coincidentally, played out in my life in a way that I believe can only be of Satan. The words came from a source of higher intelligence than I possess, I believe. Imagine, if you will, sitting outside the specialist room waiting to hear if you could have a possible cancer diagnosis. And you know something is seriously wrong and the doctor has basically told you it could be cancer. And all of a sudden, your phone makes this funny noise and you've never heard the noise before, and you take it out of your pocket and you look at it and it says, "Time is up." Then imagine you get into the specialist and the specialist does tell you you've got cancer and that your time indeed is up. And then imagine that you did something really stupid before that and you were channeling an album about death. And that there were coincidences following you around the album and your life around you. Well, that was the situation that I found myself in. I was 53 years old and I was told I had terminal ovarian cancer. I wasn't young, but I wasn't old. I had teenagers. I didn't know who would look after them. Where would they live? I didn't want to go to sleep that night because it was just so huge. I didn't want to wake up in the morning and remember it. I can describe it. It was horrible. I felt like I fitted nowhere in society. All of a sudden my life was just like, gone. You know, even though it was still there, but I felt like, yeah.
Your life as you knew it anyway.
Yeah, life as I knew it. The life that I had felt like it had disappeared in a few words that the doctor had talked over me, which was terminal cancer. But then, he hadn't been the only one that had talked death over me. The spirit of death that I believe that was following me around had been talking death over me as well for, I guess, the past year or so. I remember a year ago lying on what could have been my deathbed. I stunk from this bowel infection. I could not eat. I had stomach cramps. I could not lie on either side of my back. Sorry if that was a bit repetitive, but never mind. I had to sit up. I could barely walk and barely breathe. Neither could I hardly talk because I didn't have the breath. There is nothing like listening to your lungs rattle with cancer, barely able to breathe and in terrible pain, to make you realise how vulnerable you are. I'd always been a proud and independent woman. Thank you. I had read My Children Alone and I had headed bands. I had written songs. I had written a book. I'd also survived abuse. But cancer was not something I knew how to fight. Here I was apparently dying. How could I win? It was in that moment I realised I couldn't win without God. I needed a miracle to live and I needed God to save me. Because I knew without Him my life was history and my spirit was going to hell. And that's something people don't talk about anymore, but I feel very strongly to talk about it. In fact, I had a dream in the hospital that I believe is from God. And I was talking to people and I did mention hell a few times and people just keep looking out. So I do feel that I have to say it, and I'm sorry if it does offend people. It was at that moment I thought back on all of the dark occult lifestyle I had been mixed up in. This is a difficult subject to bring to you without making myself sound like someone who is slightly loopy. Please be assured that I am genuinely loopy. I do have people around me who can vouch for my sanity and that what I am about to tell you did happen, and Linda can't you, Linda? And
Yes.
there's plenty of others too. Due to time constraints, I cannot explain my story really well at all, and to do it justice, because it was so many coincidences that I couldn't go into them. It would just take forever.
What about that one at my place, about the apple?
Yeah,
That wasn't a
I'll
good...
let you speak on that one, Linda.
I can't quite remember the whole thing.
We'll come back to it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just one coincidence. There was so
Thought that was
many.
an interesting one.
Yeah. I have written a far more comprehensive account in my book. And I'm not trying to peddle any books, by the way. It's a free download that I'm just tidying up. Titled Unmasking the Truth for those who are interested in hearing about it in fuller detail.
Wow. Yep.
The following is really a really quick overview, as I said before, of what happened to me. My goal is not to give the devil glory, but to expose him for all to see.
Yeah, good on you.
I will not allow him and his deeds to hide in the dark. This is my testimony, or a little bit of it. Have you ever had a moment in time when something happens and you say, gee, that was strange, that was a bit of a coincidence? And you sit there and you think about it and then you just forget about it. Well, that happened to me. Only it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, but over 50 times that I can just think that I counted, but I'm sure there's even more on top probably that I didn't count. And this happened as I was creating the musical, the Lucy Star Project, from 2016 to 2017. It was as if the musical was acting out around me in my actual life. I would like to touch on a small selection of examples. I'm going to go to the computer. I might have to start it again. And just bear with me. We'll just have to take a brief. Oh no. This is a trailer to the musical.
Tip it.
Sorry, I've pulled it back up again. Is that alright? Down? There?
No.
Up?
Out
there? Yep. This is a trailer to the musical that we made. Although it's just a first take, it wasn't what we would have actually used, and I've got to wear up to date onto something, but I didn't want to look for it. Although it's just the first take, it will give you an idea of what it was about without me having to. Hopefully it works.
Life is a trick. See the spider, she's hungry, and the butterfly, well, her time will come soon. Hello, and welcome to Lucy's journey into a world where sometimes what you wish for. Be careful who you trust. Spiders weave alluring webs, but sooner or later the mask will fall and the spider will come home two-faced. By Shirley, Ryder.
To give an idea.
Yeah. Wow.
And the musical, Lucy, that was the character that I played, was playing the part of like the devil's puppet. The movie played out in the end like it was me who was the devil's puppet. That's what I believe anyway. I'm just going to randomly throw some coincidences out there of what happened between a few different songs, but this is like about, this many coincidences compared to this many, and I'm not going into the details of it because I don't want to bore everyone. But the song lyrics, this particular song was about a sinister spider that kind of, went around eating people and stuff. And the day that I wrote, remember I didn't actually write these songs, that I've channeled them, but the day that the song was written, in real life, in my life, that night, a spider bit my partner, who was my partner at the time, and I'd never in my life seen a spider bite anyone. And it's kind of weird. Take a Bite of the Apple was a song about an apple and a snake, which kind of was quite reminiscent of the and the temptation of biting the apple and the snake tempting, I guess. And in real life, there were so many coincidences around this, but I've just picked one. I walked into a shoe shop one day, and there were apples, plastic apples around the shoes. And I came home without even realising it was Viper brand sand shoes. Viper being a snake.
Wow.
Yeah. Bright Star, this was the first one that it gave me. The song title was Bright Star, and the next day I woke up in the morning and the newspaper title on the front page was Bright Star. Coming down, the Emperor is here, you can't see his face, but he's also there, that was his reflection. And he was wearing like a bird mask, and that week that we were filming it, there was just like masks. I just kept coming into contact with masks, even at school. There were bird masks being made because I worked at a school at the time. There were bird masks coincidentally being made in the classrooms. It was just so many things. When I had the idea actually of the bird mask, of the mask, I drove around the corner, and a split second later, there were two children with another child in the middle wearing a mask. Just weird stuff. Bright Star Lucy was about Lucy levitating, and somebody was actually not obviously levitating, but it was a science experiment that they did at school where a chair kind of came across. And they used that word.
At school these days.
No, it wasn't actually levitating, it was a science experiment, but yeah. The Helper was where Lucy changed her identity. And actually, you might remember this, Lorraine, but I was, in my life, I suddenly lost all of my identification documentation. And I couldn't, for like the first time in my life, just as she was changing hers, and I couldn't even get my money for a couple of weeks, You remember that, So I've actually coincidentally got to know that some of it's true. Life as a Trick was another song, and I broke up with my partner. Sorry, Lucy broke up with her partner in the movie, which was my partner at the time that was acting that. And then in real life, I broke up straight after, out of the blue.
Wow.
Hungry Crocodile, and this is a bit gory, sorry, but the theme of the song was basically about a rotting corpse, and this is really quite horrific, but in real life, my next door neighbour, we didn't know, but there was an awful smell coming from next door, and his bedroom backed onto mine in the unit. And like, this has never happened in my life, you've got to remember, like, it's not something, these things happen every day. And they had a knock on the door one day from the police, and he was actually dead, and his body was rotting right out of the blue. It was like while I was actually shooting this actual video, the replay, and I was thinking, like, if there's any a time I didn't want something to happen, it's now. And all sorts of things happen here, but I'm just going to talk about one. You can see there the reaper with the scythe. Yeah. And standing behind me, or Lucy. And then as we were filming that scythe nearly actually came down on my head. The Hydra, I'm nearly at the end of the slides. The Hydra, just in real life when I went to film that, the woman who was at the studio just went to this place in Greece. It's not pronounced the Hydra Islands, it's something else, but it's spelt Hydra Islands. And that was like quite coincidental, because I'd never heard of the place. Then the last one that I got to was called Junkie. And that was when you can actually see my eyes, they're going quite neat, because people thought, gee, Shirley's a really good actress. You know, they thought, how can Shirley be that's not Shirley? But they didn't realise it actually wasn't me. I don't believe I was channeling it, because when I started off, my acting was terrible. It was absolutely awful. But towards the end, it was Grammy Award stuff.
Oscar, I would say.
I think so, yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah, so anyway, this particular song was about Lucy being in hospital, going kind of mad. And of course I was going kind of mad just after making this music video, because I was being told I was in hospital and told I had cancer. There were also other coincidences. There was a mask on the furniture what happened was I asked this thing to help me write a song, and that's where it all began. And after that, and I had been told by a psychic friend of mine that I had a spirit guide that wanted to help me write, so I knew that. And as soon as I did that, like, I don't know how soon afterwards, I can't remember, but fairly soon afterwards, throughout the whole project, right up until I became a Christian, and even then afterwards for a little while, I had this masked face, and it would just appear on things, like on the wall, or it was always the same face. It's hard to explain. It wasn't just like looking at the cloud and you see a shape. It was slightly different to that. It was always the same face, and it would be in different things. So it wasn't walking around the room or anything, but it was weird. I don't ever see it anymore. I saw it a lot of the times. Also, when I became a Christian, I asked for my songs to be sent to me from the studio, played backwards, and I got 8 songs back. And out of those 8, 2 of them had messages on the lyrics backwards that were not just me, different people. It jumped out in their ears, they could hear them. One of them was all about putting spells on the music, and the other one was my name backwards. My name forward, sorry. So when you played it backwards, it just kept chanting, "Sleep, Shirley Ryder. Sleep, Shirley Ryder," over and over. It was, because I never believed in all that until I heard that, and I nearly fell off my chair when I heard that. And the only reason I got it back was because my partner at the time said to me, "Oh, you should ask for them back, because if it is automatically written, then see if there is." I wouldn't have even thought to have done that. Also, an apple fell magically off the bench in the same spot that we filmed it. Like, it was just sitting there for like 2 hours, and this apple just rolled with no breeze, nothing. It was bizarre, and it was the same place that we had filmed it previously. I wrote a song, "Flip between the screens and see all that you were meant to be," and the TV channels just changed automatically. Obviously, that probably wasn't magic. It probably was programmed to change, but it was quite bizarre because we couldn't actually get it back for 5 minutes, and there was other things around that, but I can't go into it. Probably the most scary one would have been that we heard what we thought was a demonic kind of religious growling noise under the bed, but there was nothing there. That was getting right towards the end of it. A clock fell off the wall, the drumsticks fell off the bed. Cats were seeing things that weren't there, like it was going to pounce on things. And we tried videoing footage, but it wiped, and there was just various other noises. People had become concerned for me because they said that my eyes looked really dark. Yeah. And like I said, they said I should have had a Grammy Award or whatever. But you can see that after giving my heart to Jesus, the change in my eyes. And people kept commenting on the change in my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah. And they were like again. My auntie had been praying for me.
Oh.
For lots of years. And it was really awesome because she had been given this hymn. I don't know if you know, I think it's called the 99 Sheep or something. I don't know if you've heard of that one. But it has this line in it because it's about the sheep that goes missing and Jesus rescues the rescue. It's an awesome song. And it has this line in it that, Jesus found the sheep and it was sick and helpless and ready to die. And she had been given that like years, 6 or 7 years or something before this had happened. He always gave her the same thing, and how pathetic that as I was, exactly. Yeah. So Satan is roaring around in the world today, seeking who he can destroy. He tried to destroy me. He gave me wise words, but they were from the pits of hell. And the theme was really dark, and I'm sorry that this is really dark talk, but I was asked to bring my testimony, and I thought, how can I say this that's not so dark? And I tried copying, I took bits out of it all the time, and I just thought, well, it is what it is. I don't have another testimony, so I'm sorry if it's a bit heavy. Yeah. So just bear with me, it does lighten up a little bit at the end. I'll try it, yeah. So anyway, I'll just quickly zip through these, but these were just a very few of the lyrics, and it's not song specific, it's just that's what I've just pulled out. So lyrics, of course, being words and songs. So some of the words that the devil, I believe, gave me. I'm here to help you in your head. In other words, because God, I believe, revealed to me what they meant, because I didn't even know what it meant at the time. It was just all given to me as this musical, so I was seeing it in the context that it was giving me, because it gave me the words to the musical. It gave me the storyline, it gave me, as I went along, it would show me things I was supposed to be doing. But then I thought, gosh, God just kind of has, this is just a small sample of what I believe God's told me that is actually the truth, you know what I mean? Not that I have to know everything, I don't want to know everything. But I'm here to help you in your head. I'm your spirit guide, here to help you right. The serpent is your guide, was another line. The serpent revealed he was the spirit guide, but only just before I got the cancer. It was in the soul. The serpent is your guide. Who is the serpent? Genesis says the serpent was the most cunning creature. What was the identity of the serpent? The dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, Revelation 22 tells us. I've been cast down, the song said. The serpent was cast down from heaven. One of the songs said the spider is pretty. It's because he comes as an angel of light. He doesn't come as a monster. Yeah. And now I've turned the slides off. The earth, the sun, the stars, the moon, he went and promised you. Satan comes to tempt us. And then he traps us in our web. The web is the trap. But we are drawn there by our own desires. Here in the dark, the serpent is born. The enemy operates in darkness. The noise inside my head is junk. What is junk? It's what we fill our lives with. It can be the television programs, demonic airwaves that infiltrate us all the time with music, videos and all sorts. Lust, immorality, riches, gossip, even knitting if it gets in the way of God. But we won't worry about that too. I don't know. I thought I'd throw that one in. But you know what I mean? It's basically anything that takes our eyes off God and takes our heart away, because it's a slow process. I didn't get to where I got to overnight. It was a 13-year process. It took me 13 years of travelling down the wrong road. Life is a trick. Why is it a trick? This is another song again. It starts where it ends. Where is that? It ends in death. Where you end up, do you ever intend? Where do we go after we die? Some people think we reincarnate. Some people think that we go back to the dust and we just that's the end of it. Hebrews 9:27 in the Bible tells us exactly where we go. It is appointed. That means we have an appointment.
Yes.
For men and women, for us, for you, for all of us. No one escapes. Once to die, so we only die once, we don't reincarnate. And after this, which means that we're not just going to the dust, something's actually going to happen afterwards. The judgment. So we're going to be judged about something. Death is our destiny's door. So what we do on this earth is really important as to the outcome after. Why am I telling you this? It seemed that when I was diagnosed on that bed, lying there with cancer, that I had no life. And like I said before, I wanted God to work. I looked back on my life and I thought, I've wasted 53 years. You know, I've actually wasted all those years. And if just whatever time I can have, if it's 6 months, if it's 2 months, if it's 20 years, whatever it is, I just want to live that time for God. And I think, I sort of thought, I'm not dead yet. I'm actually not. I know
Unless you've been reincarnated.
I know the doctors are sort of like looking at me like I'm about to die any moment, but I'm actually not dead yet. I'm still alive, and I'm here to warn people about that there is. We all know we're going to die, but you go through life and you kind of. Well, I went through life and I thought, yeah, I know I'm going to die, but you don't think about it. You just kind of carry on in your own way,
Yeah.
It's not until you actually get told you're dying that you actually realise, oh, I'm going to die, And so I just thought, I'm not dead yet, so I've got this time I've been given, however long I've been given. I don't know. None of us know how long we've got. But I've had this massive wake-up call of almost dying. And now I'm here, and I feel like every day I just want to live it for God. And I wake up in the morning and I say, God, thank you that I'm breathing. And I go to bed at night and I say, oh God, forgive me, I forgot that I did this wrong. There's so many things wrong I try not to, but but God's merciful and He does forgive. And I wanted to also warn people about what I had gone through initially, because I was lying in bed in the hospital and I just looked back over the whole occult song, and I thought, man, the song lyrics were just everything, the whole thing. I knew at the time it was bizarre, but it was intriguing. Yeah, and
Cunning,
very cunning, yeah. And I want to warn people. Like I said, I don't want to give I don't like the devil, and not at all. And I don't want to give him any glory, but I don't want him to hide and get away with it. I believe that God, and I also must say that God, like, we don't have to be scared of the devil. I should have said that to start with, because he's actually defeated. And I found that out when I was in hospital. That God's in charge. So there's nothing to be afraid of. It's but it's good to remember, because sometimes we forget how much we can let him in. Even it don't have to be in the occult. It can be anything.
He doesn't give up, does he?
No. He doesn't seem to. So I just wanted to sort of say, like, I believe that there is, well, when I became a Christian, because I became a Christian obviously, and I had an amazing peace for the first time in my life, and joy, which I still have, and I really thank God for that, because the devil was alarming. That's the best way I can describe it. And I believe, because there is healing in Jesus, and people need to hear that. And there's power, like we sang today, there is power in the name of Jesus. And I had a prophecy, actually. I had a man prophesy over me and said that I would not die. I don't know, but I decided to believe that. And I went up to Auckland to hear this guy who has an amazing healing ministry. And he prayed over me and said I was healed. So I'm just kind of hanging on to that, and and he said, keep. He always talked about keeping you're going to keep your eyes on the facts, which is you have cancer and you're going to die, or are you going to believe God, because God is bigger than the facts? I thought, wow, that's so cool, because It makes sense, you know. God is bigger than the facts. I don't actually have to look at the facts all the time. Yeah, and I think about, and I do have dark times when, obviously, when I think, oh, there's a lot of pain there, or I've got a pain here. And when you've had cancer, you think, and you've told it's coming back, everything is like, oh, it could, you know. When you don't have cancer, it's bad enough. You think it could be cancer, but when you do have cancer, you think, oh, it's coming back, you know. It's all good, you know. So you sort of have those times. And I try to think of Peter, and when he walked on the water.
Yes.
Yeah. And with his eyes on Jesus, he was able to do it. But when he took his eyes off Jesus, he began to sing. And that's what I have to remember, to keep my eyes on Jesus and on his healing and on his name. And just keep focused on God. And I guess my message today would be in terms of the healing part, because I know there's people that are everywhere in the world that are suffering, and I hate seeing people suffer. I've developed compassion for people that are sick, especially with cancer. And I would just encourage people about that. And I would just say, I'd just like to remind people that, you know, there's the medical facts, but then there is God.
That's right.
And it's not just medicine either. You could be in a bad relationship, or you could have money problems. I don't know what the problem might be, but God's bigger. Yeah, he really is, and that's the cool thing about it. Oh, and now I'm up to my songs. I was having a lady that was playing the flute with me today, but unfortunately she was not able to come at the last minute, so you're just going to have to put up with me blubbering on. But these are some songs from my new album, but on the album I actually have a proper band. This is just me playing my little guitar. The first song is called May the Lord Forgive Me, and it's when I was in hospital, and I was sort of sitting in my hospital, lying on my bed, thinking all our pride, it's like filthy rags to God, and even to myself, it's nothing. And actually at the end of the day, we just have to be humble before God. The second song, and asking God to forgive me, obviously. Second song is Job's Comforters, which is twofold. It's about when I was in that hospital, some people would come and visit me, and most people were great, but some people just didn't really get it, and they kind of thought she's carking it, and I'm like, no, I know I look like I'm carking it, but I'm not, you know. Don't give up on me. And so it was kind of like also trying to forgive them later on, because it kind of hurts when your friends are telling you to go to the hospice and you're actually still fighting for your life. So I had to, it was about forgiving others, you know, as well. And then the last one, if I get that far, I don't know how many far, I'll tell you them all in whatever I sing, but I've written quite a few, but the last one was just Fruitless Nights and Fruitless Days and Fruitless Nights, which is about the fruit that we bear from our spirit, if it's dark or if it's light, and it will reflect from, should reflect from God being inside us, or the enemy, or the world, or so hopefully my songs are a little bit more uplifting now than the old ones. So I don't know. Yes.
Your testimony, basically like you shared now on YouTube. I have a friend that nearly could have come.
This is May the Lord Forgive Me. When the sun goes down, when my days cave in, when the daylight ends, I cry out to the Son of Man, take my power, take my mind, take my strength, take my pride. May the Lord forgive me. May the Lord forgive me. When my days
to the Son of Man. Take my take my might, take my strength, take my pride. I have found no joy in darkness, I have found no day and night. I have been addicted to darkness all my life. Lord, forgive me. Take my pain, take my pride. May the Lord forgive me. May the Lord